guest that I'm bringing up here. Say what you want about him, but I got his back on every turn. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Higgins.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you everyone for coming today. Thank you for everyone who's supporting this promotion. Look, I think it is a very tricky time in the world, as Dan alluded to, and so I personally and our Duco team, we're very grateful and feeling a bit blessed. We actually had two events just this weekend. We had the Hot Springs Spa T20 Black Clash in Christchurch, and it was sold out, I think 8,200 people. Viewership, it just clicked over 1,050,000 people on television, which is another record for Black Clash. And then the very next day in New Plymouth, we had a music concert named Symphony, and we had 8,000 people at the Bowl of Brooklands in New Plymouth. And so, you know, that is a relief with the headlines going around at the moment. And so the next show for us is the landmark heavyweight boxing contest, Stonewood Holmes, Joseph Parker versus Junior Farr. And that's going ahead 27 February, Saturday at Spark Arena in Auckland, and as Dan said, on worldwide television. We're here today to make a couple of undercard announcements, and we're here at Buttabean Motivation, or BBM headquarters. The reason for that is Dave Letele, the founder, was one of my best friends at school. We've known each other nearly 30 years, and he's had a hell of a journey. He's utterly turned his life around. At one point, we were very concerned for David, and he weighed 230 kilograms or something, and he's now lost over 100 kilograms, lovely family and wife, and now he's helping numerous other people make a similar journey to turn their lives around, including me. I'm going to the gym with him 3 days a week consistently. We're at the gym this morning. So I'd like to thank Dave Letele and BBM for helping everyone, and glad to be here to give them a boost. Then in terms of the announcements, I'll let Dan do the announcing, but boxing is one of those sports where, you know, there's someone has to carry on the baton, and you asked the question, when Joseph Parker does hang up the gloves in a few years' time, what's the future of New Zealand boxing? And I think a couple of the guys here today are the future of New Zealand boxing, and we're delighted to have them on this card. So I'll hand back to Dan. Thank you.
David Higgins, ladies and gentlemen. And apparently, I don't mean to alarm you people at home, but apparently we've got some Butterbeaners here today. Butterbeaners, make some noise! All right, this next guest I am bringing up here, I met him first when David Higgins brought him to a King of the Ring, and I went over there and introduced myself, and he stood up, and I went, whoa, and David said, hey, this is going to be one of our fighters, and we're going to call him the Brown Buttabean, and we all need to hate him. And he was the ultimate card, he was the ultimate heel, he was the ultimate promoter's dream. And if you told me 8 years ago that we'd be standing here in this headquarters where lives were literally being saved, I would have said you were a liar. But he went from 210 kgs down to 185, down to 165. Every time, the only thing that changed on my cue card was David's weight. And here we are years later, and he's still a skinny malinky. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mr. David Letele.
Hey, thanks very much for the intro there, Dan. Look, I just want to thank, I'll keep mine very brief, but I want to thank Dave Higgins and all the team at Duco for allowing one of our team, Phil Tiller, on the card. It's an amazing story. And I just want to also thank Dave for getting me back here. The story with us, I was 210 kilos, totally lost, depressed, broken-hearted, a broken man. I lost my family, didn't have my kids, and I basically wanted to kill myself. I wanted to drive onto a pole every single day, but Dave saved me. You know, he gave me that opportunity, but I had to do something with it. He even gave me a job. I was a salesperson at Duco for a while there. I don't think I sold anything, but he kept me on the payroll for a while, so thank you very much, Dave. Appreciate everything. And look, we've got Phil Tiller, he's on the undercard. It's an amazing story, and one that needs to be seen and heard, because Phil, you know, he's lost 150 kilos. He was nearly dead when I met him. So Phil's lost that weight, but more importantly, he's regained his life, you know, and it's a story of hope. When I met him, he was nearly dead. 1 foot in the grave. He was on the sickness benefit for 15 years. He's now working here full time. And he's just totally turned his life around and inspiring everyone. And you know, in these tough times that we're all going through, people need hope. Amen? Amen. People need hope and they need to know what's possible. You know, it's possible if you start, if you stay consistent, if you be around good people, and if you never let excuses get in your way. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm very proud of Phil. And look, who would have ever thought, you know, hands up who was around at the beginning when we started this, the whole circus act of the Buttabean. Did you ever think in your wildest dreams we'll be having this press conference here? You know, look, Dave, the whole thing, Dave rolled me, he said, we're going to roll you out. So the thing happened, it was over in Germany, right? Just for those of you who don't know and just think I'm a dick, you know. I was over in Germany for Joseph Parker. Dave paid for me economy. He wouldn't let me come business class. I couldn't fit in economy. So he said, you better train hard because you're not coming business. So I trained, I started walking twice a day and stopped eating rubbish. Over there, the head of German boxing. Never seen such a large tattooed islander before with a shaved head. So they dragged me up like an elephant by the trunk. And here I was. And they said, we want to see what you weigh. I said, I do too. Because every time I jump on the scale back home, it always says error. So who else has that issue? Otherwise the batteries are flat or something. But look, I jumped on the scale there and I was 178 kilos. And everyone was like, oh, man, who's this fat bugger there, you know? But I was so happy because I just realized how much weight I'd lost. So up there's still photos that Brian Barry took. I was like, I'm the man, yeah, no one can beat me. And everyone started laughing at me. And that's when Dave had that light bulb, you're gonna be the next circus act. This is what you're going to do. We've just had dwarves fight. Now we're going to have this big fat brown guy fight. And that was the whole premise. I would call out different areas that I fought in. You know, so it's an amazing journey, one of hope, and one of if you work and if you're willing to get up out of the gutter and work your butt off, anything's possible. So thank you very much.
Thank you. You know, I said to David, I said, hey man, can we throw a chair or break a table or throw me through a wall for old time's sake? He wasn't having it, man.